This is the Tasty Chips Electronics GR Mega. A groundbreaking and versatile granular workstation and transformative sampler, designed to push the boundaries of sound design and sample processing. Effortlessly record, granulate, stretch and modulate samples into captivating ambiences, intricate soundscapes, rich timbres and complex textures in no time. Its hands-on interface and comprehensive feature set offers a world of creative possibilities for musicians, producers, sound designers and film composers to create and sculpt sounds that are innovative and extraordinary. In short, the GR Mega is a musical powerhouse and the ultimate tool for exploring, refreshing and otherworldly sonic territories. Here are a few examples. In this video, we will take a look at the key features of the GR Mega, have a walkthrough of all the upfront controls and connectivity on the back, and we will show a few use cases to get you started. Okay, let's start with a quick overview of the GR Mega's controls and key features. It is a 20-voice polyphonic sample-based instrument that offers 5 distinct sound engines for processing audio samples. Granular, granular slice, sampler, tape, and spectral, also known as phase vocoding. Engines can be changed with the mode button underneath the engine controls, which will also change the parameter functions accordingly. Details on the functionality of the sound engines will be provided later in the video. The GR Mega has over 500 GB of internal memory, capable of storing 50 projects internally. Each project contains 128 presets and their corresponding samples, next to 128 slots to store multitimbral configurations. The GR Mega also has the ability to stack up to 4 multitimbral layers. These multitimbral layers can be accessed and highlighted using the layer buttons on the left side of the screen. If you want to perform with these multitimbral layers, you can use the Layer Mix button on the right to toggle the envelope faders above into volume faders for each layer. Then we have the screen in the middle, which is a dimmable and scratch-proof 7-inch display that shows a crisp and detailed view of the main screen and all 8 tabs in the system menu. It also visualizes the audio sample in a traditional waveform view or a detailed spectrogram using the view button underneath the engine controls. It also goes well together with the highly responsive, low-resistant position fader underneath the screen that not only determines the playback position in all 5 sound engines, but can also be used to adjust values in the system menus or to set the start and end positions for loop and crop confinements in the operator menu. The operator menu is accessed by rotating the operator encoder next to the position slider, which selects one of the multiple sample editing functions such as normalizing, slicing, cropping, zooming, and positioning the start and end pointers for the loop and crop confinements. The actions of these operator functions can then be executed by pressing the Execute button on the right. The operator encoder can also be used to set values in every system menu. In the top left corner, we have a modulation section that houses 4 LFOs which can be adjusted and assigned to multiple destinations using these dedicated modulation controls. But for a more complete overview of all your modulations within a preset, you can also go to the modulation matrix in the system menu. This modulation matrix offers 20 sources such as LFOs, envelopes and also several MPE sources, which can then be routed to around 100 destinations across 100 modulation rows. Then we have two filter cutoffs. One of which is a low pass and the other one is a high pass filter, and their slopes can also be adjusted to have different cutoff attenuations per octave. Underneath, we have an effects section that allows up to 4 simultaneous effects per preset. The effects that are currently implemented are reducer, reverb, mono delay, ping pong delay, distortion and a compressor, but more effects will be added in future firmware updates. We can also assign up to 2 parameters per effect to the assignable effect knobs up front. The GR Mega also has a 64-step sequencer that can hold up to 7 notes or slices per step. And each step has its own velocity, note length and chance to be triggered. The sequencer also contains 4-step modulation rows that can be selected as a source in the modulation matrix. Changing the overall BPM and the sequencer rate, position, length and play mode can be done using these upfront sequencer controls. The GR Mega also has chord memory, which can recall up to 12 specific voices with a single key press. Simply press Shift plus chord to record incoming MIDI notes and confirm it by pressing the chord button again. Chord memory also has detune parameters per voice, allowing you to create a unison effect or a microtonal chord configuration. In the Granular engine, these chord voices are applied on a granular level, allowing you to have full control over their harmonic intervals. And by using the ARP mode setting in the patch menu, you can determine if the chord is applied to the grains in several arpeggio styles such as upward, downward, shuffle or randomized. For the grains we have not one, but 2 window types: Power Attack Release and Raised Cosine. The Power Attack Release window is the same envelope that is used in the GR1 and offers control over the tilt, curve and sides parameters of the window. It has a more square-shaped envelope, resulting in grains that have a powerful and transient amplitude. The second window type is Raised Cosine, which retains a more curved envelope, resulting in a more smooth and uniform cloud of grains. But Raised Cosine also offers a new parameter, which is amplitude modulation. This modulates the shape to have multiple curves, resulting in grains that have a low or high frequency tremolo effect. Then we have 4 ADSR envelopes for pitch, filter, amplitude and an auxiliary envelope that can be assigned as a source in the modulation matrix. The attack, decay and release stages of the envelope can be linear or curved using the ADSR curve button right here, or by using Shift and the corresponding slider. At the top we have a knob to set the patch volume and the input level for recording incoming audio signals, a knob to set the mix between the incoming monitor signal, which is dry, and the real-time granulated signal, which is wet. And finally we have the master out to adjust the overall output level of the GR Mega. If we take a look at the back of the GR Mega, we can see that we have 2 USB-A's and a USB 3 connection, so you can hook up external devices such as hard drives and controllers, an Ethernet connection for transferring files between PC and the GR Mega. We have a USB-C connection that allows users to connect the GRMega to your DAW for MIDI messages such as program and control changes and all MPE parameters. An HDMI connection if you want the view of the GRMega displayed on a bigger external monitor, because why not? Then we also have a DIN MIDI in, through and out, one CV gate out and two CV ins that can be selected as a source in the modulation matrix. And at last, two high quality balanced 1/4 inch stereo in and outputs. Granular synthesis is an extremely powerful sound design technique to transform audio samples into a wide variety of new sounds with ease, such as ever-evolving soundscapes and time-defying textures. In this video we will not explain the basics of granular synthesis, as there are plenty of videos on the internet that will explain how granular synthesis works, including our own video, which we will link in the description below. Let's showcase the true transformative power of granular synthesis by designing a preset that is complex, expressive, and will continuously morph into different states, so it never produces the same sound twice. As mentioned earlier, all engines in the GRMega are sample-based, so the first thing that we need to do is to select an audio sample. So let's load that in and have a listen. Okay, so first, let's add some unipolar modulation to the granular playback position, so it will move automatically. Next, let's use a second LFO to modulate the rate of LFO 1 to occasionally speed up and slow down the granular playback position. Let's also add some negative unipolar modulation to the amount of LFO 1. This will reduce and lengthen the distance of the granular playback position. I'm also adding a little bit of backward scan to add an extra push-pull effect on top of all this position modulation. This will sometimes boost the position modulation if it moves in the same direction, but it will also introduce resistance if the LFO goes into the opposite direction. Okay, so right now we hear a noticeable phasing effect. This occurs because grains are spawning on top of each other at a high rate, causing a high level of phase correlation. This phasing effect can be eliminated almost immediately by spreading out the granular stream, using the spray parameter. However, I like the sound of it, so let's set spray back to 0. But I also do not want the phase effect to be present all the time. So let's add some spray modulation to occasionally open and close that granular stream. We can apply a curve in the modulation matrix to bend low values to be even lower, while occasionally allowing high values to peek through. This will cause the spray area to be either extremely narrow or wide open, retaining the phase effect most of the time. Now let's copy-paste this modulation row and send it to the pan spray destination as well, to occasionally spread out the grains over the stereo field. Let's also add some panning modulation by using LFO2. Panning is a bipolar parameter, So we need to set the modulation amount to be positive bipolar to move the panning position from left to right instead of from center to right. The polarity of an LFO can also be switched up front using shift plus wave. Just like the position modulation, I want the panning modulation to speed up and slow down, and also reduce and expand within its stereo field. So let's copy paste the position rows and assign them to the rate and amount of LFO2. And last but not least, let's modulate the grain size parameter to increase and reduce the size of the grains as well. And that is how you make an expressive granular patch that continuously morphs the original sample into an endless stream of grainy goodness. And if you would like to reuse these settings for another patch, you can easily save all these settings without the sample as a template in the save dialog. In this example, we are going to take a look at the Granular Slice engine. What is so special about Granular Slice mode is that we are now able to apply granular synthesis at specific points of interest within our sample. This works especially well when combined with dynamic samples such as percussive drum loops, but needless to say, it can also slice anything you want. So for this example, let's keep things simple and use the GR Mega in a gem with external gear connected to it. The rhythm will be the master clock, so let's connect its MIDI DIN output to the MIDI DIN input of the GR Mega. Now let's go to the GR Mega system menu. You can fast jump to this menu by using menu +8 and set external beat clock to on to receive the external clock and transport signals from the rhythm. Okay, so that works. I already have a preset loaded up that has manually placed slices, but to show you how easy it is to delete and place slices on the GR Mega, let's go to delete slice, hit shift and execute to delete all previous slices, go to add slice and hit shift plus execute and boom, all sliced up, ready to go. Let's generate some notes by using the internal sequencer of the GR Mega. Go to the sequencer in the menu and hit the record button. And before we start patching, a few quick tips for granular slice mode, because this is mostly a granular engine under the hood. Use grain key trigger to always launch a grain on every key press. If you just want one shot instead of a granular burst, turn your grain rate all the way down to launch only one grain on every key press. And if you want sharp, punchy transients, tilt your window to the front or square out the window envelope to have maximum amplitude at the beginning of your grains. Okay, enough talking, let's go. Up next we have the sampler engine, but I assume we all know how samplers work by now, so I'm going to skip its explanation. If we look and listen to this sampler preset, we can hear multiple notes within the sample. But let's say we just want to use the second note only, instead of all four. We can drag our position towards the start, quickly zoom in by using Shift plus the operator encoder, and directly place a start marker on a zero crossing in the sample. And let's do the same for the end marker. We can even crop it if we don't need the rest anymore, so for this example, let's do that. Now we can also normalize the level of this sample. Let's have a listen. We can also determine how the playheads play back the sample. In the patch menu, we can select a few different modes such as looping, ping pong, and one shot. I'll go with ping pong for now. Okay, so another feature that really works well within sampling is chord memory. This creates multiple playheads on every key press. Simply press Shift plus chord to record a few MIDI notes, and hit chord again to confirm your chord. Let's check the menu to verify what we recorded. And we can even add detune per voice. We can use a few engine controls to make things more interesting, such as spray to randomize the playhead's starting points, pan spray to randomize the playheads in the stereo field, and direction to determine the probability of the playback direction. Tape is a playful and interactive sound engine that emulates the tactile experience of moving a playhead over an audio sample within a digital environment, and is a suitable engine for producing transitional sound effects such as reverses and tape stops. So for this example, I want to make a preset that is capable of generating lots of interesting sound effects that seem to power down or slow down in time. Samples such as drum loops and timbral textures work really well within tape mode because these samples contain lots of dynamic variations and spectral characteristics. Let's load in a sample that I have recorded using my modular system, which contains several consecutive synth plug one-shots that all have unique timbres. In case you are working standalone on the GR Mega, press play to continuously play back the sound. We want a fairly slow slew time for a longer lasting sound effect, so let's go for a slew time of around 3%. I also want to create a different sound effect every time I press a key, so let's add some spray to randomize the starting position of the playhead on every trigger. This will generate a unique sound effect on every key press. I actually want to hear more details, so I'm going to use the chord memory feature to generate more than one playhead. Now that we have multiple playheads, we can also add some stereo by using the pan spray parameter. Let's add some modulation to give it some pot racer fluctuations. I'm going to do this by modulating the low pass filter with an LFO. And I'm going to use another LFO to modulate the rate of the first LFO as if it's slowing down over time. Let's top it all off by adding a delay effect with modulation on its time parameter to further emphasize time slowing down. Perhaps the most anticipated sound engine in the GR Mega is the Spectral engine. Based on a phase vocoding algorithm, the Spectral engine is capable of extremely smooth time stretching and pitch shifting, instantly transforming any timbre of a sample into otherworldly sound effects that will kickstart your tracks. Because the results are always mesmerizing, I believe it's much more fun to just showcase the engine by experimenting with the spectral parameters in several presets. Even the smallest adjustments will drastically change the output. So let's hear what happens when we shape some alien noises. Another key feature of the GR Mega is the ability to create a multitimbral preset. To keep it simple, you can stack up to 4 presets to control and play several distinct sounds simultaneously. This is extremely powerful, as this allows users to create a standalone, multi-layered composition that can be performed live on stage, or to design one complex, multi-layered sound with unique settings on a single piece of hardware. So for this example, let's set up a multi-timbral configuration that allows me to drone 2 layers simultaneously, while I use 2 other layers to play on top of the drone layers. First, let's set up the 2 drone layers. The first layer is already active, so let's select a suitable preset for a drone. To activate the second layer, use Shift plus layer 2 or hold layer 2 for 1 second. Let's select another suitable preset for the drone. This sounds nice. Quickly tapping on a layer button will focus on an active layer so you can make adjustments. Alright, up next we are going to set up 2 layers that will not respond to the play button. Rather, they will only listen to incoming MIDI notes from an external keyboard so we can freely play on top of the drone. So let's go to the system menu and turn off the MIDI channels for the first 2 layers. This will make sure both layers will not respond to the incoming MIDI notes from my external keyboard. And for both layer 3 and 4, I am going to set the MIDI channel to 1 so they do respond to the external MIDI keyboard. However, I'm going to disable the play mode button to the right, so these layers will not respond to the play mode button that I use to start the drone. Alright, so all layers are now set up properly. Let's select the last 2 presets for layer 3 and 4. Perfect. Let's play around with it. Now, if we hit a layer button down here, we can use the envelope sliders above to fade layers in and out whenever we want. This allows us to easily perform with 4 layers simultaneously, which is an excellent feature when performing on stage with the GR Mega. Alright, that about covers the multi-timbral feature. Let's go on to the next one. The GR Mega has been designed to easily receive, record and process any incoming live audio signal, as well as resampling its own internal output. Simply connect an external sound source in the inputs on the back and you are able to see and hear the incoming audio signal immediately. Now simply press record and boom, you are recording. You can record close to 3 minutes of stereo input in the audio buffer. You can also enable loop record in the sampling menu, in case you want to granulate live signals for an indefinite amount of time. However, note that the maximum buffer length is 3 minutes, so it will start to overwrite the recording when it exceeds the 3-minute threshold. Okay, let's granulate some incoming live audio signals and see what happens. Saving and loading your work on the GR Mega is super easy. Simply press Save, select a type, select a slot, give it a name, and press Save. All changes are now stored internally. You are able to save samples, patches, multi-timbral presets, templates, and projects. And by using the load window or the file manager in the menu, all file types can be easily recalled as well. We hope you enjoyed this GR Mega walkthrough. The GR Mega is available for purchase through our official webshop or via our dealer network, which are linked in the description. For more information and announcements regarding the GR Mega, visit the Tasty Chips website and sign up for our newsletter directly from our homepage. Thank you for watching the video, see you next time.